So, Chief, are you saying that the murders were committed inside his house?
My best guess, okay, because they weren't home then. So if you're a killer like that, and if you go and risk it someplace else and go through torture, if he did do that, you need a quiet place with nobody around. And that's what his house offered. And that's what I believe they were there all that time. I didn't believe he was buried. I saw them digging up. I didn't think he did that. It's like, I forget the name of the killer. John Wayne Gacy did that years ago. I didn't think he was doing that. But where else? Then tell me where else. And possibly the storage center, but even that's more risky than happening in the home. She wasn't home, and that's where it happened. That's my belief.
I mean, it's the perfect spot if you think about it. He had time, he had room, he had, he could take his time in prepping them for disposal. I mean, he could do a lot of different things. He knows when his wife's coming back. He had time to clean up, before she came back, although it doesn't sound like a lot of cleaning went on in that house. But, it's the perfect place for him to do it. He knows that. He knows the house. He feels comfortable there. It's private. No one's around. He can take his time. It does seem like, and a motel doesn't afford you that. Other venues don't afford you that. So, I mean, it certainly seems like a very likely place that he would feel comfortable in doing that.
Gigi from the chat, she wants someone to explain that Asa Ellerup's hair was on the duct tape that was wrapped around one of the victims. You want to explain that, Bobby?
Yeah, sure. If anybody that has a roll of duct tape in their house or in their garage, it's usually pretty thick, the duct tape roll, right? Where the thing, pick it up, go look at it. Invariably, there's stuff stuck to the side because the tackiness, the material that makes that tape tacky, it leaks out on the sides a little bit. If you feel the side of a roll of duct tape, it feels a little tacky, which means that anything that touches it sticks to it. So it's almost like something that you would just, you ever see people with a piece of tape and they blot it on something to pick up little things. That's the way both sides of a roll of duct tape get. Invariably, if your duct tape has been in your garage any length of time, it's got all kinds of crap stuck to the sides of it. And I think that's probably what happened. Some of her DNA, some of her hair, whatever else, got stuck to the sides of this thing. When he goes to rip it off, it just stays on there. And when he uses it, her hair, and remember, these are like microscopic little things. They're so good at finding this stuff. The lab guys are so good at finding this stuff that it wouldn't have to be something so obvious, but he probably never saw that thin strand of hair. But when they get in the lab and they're examining this stuff, boy, they find that stuff. And so I think that's the kind of thing. It was probably stuck. She may have used that roll of tape for something or handled it or something, and it just transferred there, and it kind of stuck because that tackiness of the outside of duct tape is very common.
Well, Bobby, you used the term transfer, and it's transfer evidence. And like when you live in a house with numerous people, people lose, I think, 50 something hairs off their head every time you're moving around. And maybe not you, Chief. No, I'm just kidding. but we all lose hair off our head just every, and that's being left somewhere. So a lot of people made a big deal that, well, how come Asa Ellerup's hair was found, but the children's hair was never found? Explain that one, Chief.
Well, no, it's just a happenstance. Who's doing all the work in the house is Asa Ellerup, and Bobby couldn't explain it better. Everybody who has it's an inexpensive tape for the most part, duct tape, and it does pick up anything you put down on. It's just and if you're using that, another argument that it happened in the house, that he used something there that's nearby to tie these ladies up. So it's another argument you would make there as well. And everybody, those transference of anything, you open the door and you can hurt forensics, latent prints and whatnot. You have to be very careful. But in the same vein, you capture that, you bring it to the lab, and all of a sudden you're looking at it. You remember they had that, and they went and got the bottles out front in the garbage and found out that it was a female's DNA, and that's where they made the connection on that too. Someone in that house is that DNA that was on the top of the bottles. So this is all a forensic case that well put together. That's going to help out. And again, you lose skin cells left and right as well. Everything's full. A lot of things fall off me, but it's one of those things that a good forensic science team can go in there and recover evidence.
I think people, what they like the best about this case is the pizza. Everyone always mentions the pizza. Oh, they took the pizza box and they got Rex Heuermann's DNA off the pizza. I guess he left the crust. You didn't think a fat guy like that would leave the crust. He eat it all, but luckily he left the crust, so they were able to get his DNA off it.
Well, that's where you start abandonment DNA, and then when he's arrested, you go get the buccal swab, and now you have the same thing, and then now you're in business. Which is what happened. It's abandonment DNA. A lot of cases, we train our detectives to pick up on those things. I won't go into the why we do it, how we do it, but that's one of the things as well. That abandonment DNA that really put him in a hard way to go after that.
I think the Golden State Killer, same thing. I think they got off a Coke can, or they followed him around until he discarded a Coke can or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, or else we get it what we call surreptitiously, right? That's the word everyone loves. We collected the DA in a surreptitious manner. I love that word, and so does the people watching this.